Down to 138 pounds in the white singlet from Milwaukee, Bradley Tech, ranked 4th in the state, Travis Smith, and from Wisconsin Rapids in the black singlet, the first of 7 straight Rapids wrestlers we're going to see. Amazing. Here's Keegan Einerson, the senior.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as you get ready to sit down and enjoy a string of Rapids wrestlers, half of tonight's finals are Rapids wrestlers, all seniors.
Half the final. Think about that when you put the half of the finalists here tonight of the weight classes are from one school. What an amazing season it has been for Wisconsin Rapids, and what an amazing tournament it has been for this young man from Bradley Tech, Travis Smith. Really burst onto the scene and is making his name felt. He's only a junior, but boy, has he been one of the stories here, Mel Dow, of these championships, really putting on a show. He knocked off the #1 ranked wrestler, the defending state champ Adam Yeedy, in the quarterfinals in convincing fashion, 11-5 Thursday night. And I watched that match start to finish. Smith just dominated it from the beginning to end. He is on a roll right now.
You're right. There was some kind of spotlight on that match because there were a lot of people watching that, and he completely controlled that match. Yeedy actually tried changing up his offense a little bit throughout the match to try to get something generated, and Smith countered everything with his own offensive attack.
Certainly, you know the Einerson name, been around a long time. Brothers, again, all over the place. Older brothers, younger brothers, formerly of Lodi, is when Keegan won his state championship as a freshman back in 2009. He was 5th a year ago at 130 pounds. Now trying to, he'd put another name you'd put on the list with his brother coming up of some of the best wrestlers to not win a state title. He's got one as a freshman in Lodi. Now can he get one as a senior at Rapids? Bookend his career with state titles.
Yeah, both Lodi and Rapids, you know, 2 of our great programs here in the state of Wisconsin. You know, a fortunate opportunity for him to be up here with several teammates now as we get ready to have this string of Rapids wrestlers. Again, a good solid match here to start out with. Good fundamental position out of both wrestlers. Smith with that low stance. Einerson trying to get underneath it as we wind down here in that first period.
Yeah, Travis Smith, we told you his signature victory was in the quarterfinals over #1 ranked state champ Adam Yeedy. Had another big one last night in the semis over 3rd ranked Nate Hedinga of Wausau West. Einerson's big one came in the quarterfinals. Another one of those big time Thursday evening showdowns when he knocked off 2nd ranked Mason Geary of DeForest 2-0 Mel in that quarterfinal. So both these guys get to feel like, boy, now we got through that. What's left but to win it once you go through the #1 and #2 ranked wrestlers in the quarterfinal round.
You know, and as we start out here, the second period with Smith being down, you know, you're going to see his speed and strength coming out of Smith. Just fundamental, solid wrestling out of Einerson. You know, throughout the years, what you've seen out of them is position, 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 with that leverage that they have with that little bit of longer limbs. You know, just the 2 different spectrums of wrestlers here between the 2.
Bradley Tech, we've been talking to Mel. One of the themes of the night is really the changing landscape on the team side of things. How about the job that Craig Bevilacqua's done at Bradley Tech? You ready for this one? 8 state qualifiers here this weekend for Bradley Tech. They were within an eyelash of knocking off Franklin and going to the team state tournament. They're a team that brings back a lot of talent. They might be another team that a year or 2 down the road, you see Bradley Tech making some noise on the team side of things. A very good team. Anytime you put 8 state qualifiers in the individual state tournament, you got something going on.
You know, to be honest with you, Joey, it's great to see some resurgence in Milwaukee with their wrestling programs, you know, and you know, a lot of that has to go to the late Craig Belcher. You know,
absolutely.
A long-time coach, long-time representative for the Milwaukee area, doing all kinds of youth programming for kids to get wrestling there. You know, and I'm sure some of these kids have reaped from some of that benefit. You know, we just recently lost the great coach Craig Belcher.
Well, Einerson doing a heck of a job here, and Smith chose down, and we saw how much did that last match with Hennis riding out Whitehead that second period. That changed the entire match around, and here we have Einerson has ridden Smith now for well over a minute. If he rides him out again, it's a 2-for-1 basically. Completely changes your strategy on both sides.
All right, here's a position that's going to make something happen. Einerson is on his hip, a dangerous position for any wrestler to ever be in. But again, that new style of wrestling, controlling the ankle.
Oh, and there's the reversal. Just the athleticism there of Travis Smith to come out the back door, pick up the ankle. What a scramble, and he gets the 2-point reversal.
You know, that's one of the things that you start teaching younger and younger wrestlers as the new style of wrestling is that scrambling. Isolate an ankle, elevate that ankle, and you'll stop those scramble situations. And and Smith able to come out on top in that reversal.
Now, Einerson does have choice in the third period, so assuming there's not a takedown here in the final 10 seconds, Einerson, one would think, goes down to tie it up at 2 here with an escape. 5 seconds to go in this second period. Again, Travis Smith, just a junior. He was a state qualifier a year ago and then kind of made that humongous leap from state qualifier to 49-1 as a junior, and here he is in the state finals. Einerson goes down to start this second period, quickly up to his feet. Smith doing a nice job, though, at grapevine that leg and taking him right back down to the mat.
Got a wrist knuckle under on the front side there, going to a tight waist, step into the out of bounds, give himself a restart, keeping himself in a solid position, controlling those hips. Hand control is going to play a huge part here in this third period. Einerson's got to be able to get hand control to earn that escape to tie this up.
Again, Einerson up to his feet. Smith now dropping down smartly to a single. If nothing else, he's going to really make Keegan Einerson work for this 1 point. Malice, nice mat return there, and it's still Travis Smith in control with that 2-1 lead.
Takes a lot out of a wrestler there when you return a wrestler to the mat like that. He's got to protect himself. He's got to be prepared to come fighting back up. That takes energy out of both your wrestlers.
And we are out of bounds, 119. So time not a concern yet, Mel, but boy, you think about the energy now that Einerson's had to expend that second period to get the escape, but now in this third period, certainly you'd have to think right now the advantage, Travis Smith, just as much as he is making Keegan Einerson work for this potential tying 1 point escape. Nice Granby attempt by Einerson. They're going to say, oh, he was out of bounds. Close, nice idea there by Einerson. I give him credit, but just started the roll a little bit too late.
Yep. You know, broke that control, lost control there, but again, too much out of bounds before it started.
Wouldn't be surprised if I see Einerson go back to that Granby roll again here to try and get out. As you see him there pivoting to the head, trying to get that roll through exactly, and he's to his feet. Now, on the other hand here, you're going to have to be careful if you're Smith that you're not going to get dinged for stalling, Mel, because if he just keeps going to his feet and hanging on Einerson's waist and running him out of bounds, eventually he is going to get hit for stalling. Well, we have to take a quick second here. You hear the applause. Jared Dinar over on the Division II mat has just capped off one of the historic careers in any athletic achievement. 4 state titles, an undefeated high school career. He's getting a standing ovation right now. I don't want to steal the spotlight from this great match, but boy, Jared Dinar, amazing.
Yep, nice job by Jared Dinar. Great family tradition. Family is probably the backbone of that success. Now again, back here under 30 seconds left in the Division I match. Smith with a wrist ride and an ankle. Tough ride situation right here. Einerson's head's down on the mat. The official's kind of looking to see if there's potentially dangerous in there and what's going on with the situation. Neither wrestler really progressing. Einerson coming up to his feet.
Einerson to his feet, right back down to the switch, tries the Granby roll, 5 seconds. Einerson back to his feet again, and we're out of bounds. 3 seconds to go. Another one of these finishes. What in the world can happen now in Division I? 3 seconds, can Einerson get the escape here?
A lot can happen in 3 seconds, Joe. Don't give up.
Well, he tried the roll, not enough. Travis Smith of Milwaukee Bradley Tech. A monumental performance. The reversal meltdown in the second period, and then he rode out Einerson for the entire third period.
What a great effort by that young man. Continuing to drop into the hips, to continue the ride. He was never really trying to just hold on. He was always trying to improve his position.
And there it is, a state championship for Travis Smith of Milwaukee Bradley Tech. What a night for that young man. He's just a junior, and there you go. You got to have the bat flip on the state finals. Travis Smith, a state champion at 138 pounds.
Might be a start of a good night for Milwaukee.
I feel it was great. It was a blessing. I knew before coming to the tournament, if I just believed myself, I could beat anybody. I know I could win this tournament. I figured I was going to win the tournament before I came in because I worked so hard and hard work pays off. And the most part was belief.